this is something that is going to be a little bit controversial, and I know the marketing people in the audience are probably going to be triggered by me sharing this, but you're literally wasting so much time creating educational content that isn't created in sales psychology. When you're creating educational content, you're over educating your audience. You're literally losing thousands of dollars every single month in your business because there's nothing in that type of content to make people actually want to buy from you. Okay. So here's the thing. I consistently see this with business owners. They're creating like one specific type of content and they're only attracting one type of business owner. And that's why they're not able to grow their revenue. And often they're not even creating consistent sales with the type of business that they are attracting. So there's four types of content that literally every single business owner should be creating. We've got problem aware, agitation, solution, and transparency content. So problem aware content is going to speak to your more beginner level person. You're creating an aha moment for them where you're shifting their understanding so that they are getting a dopamine release and you're getting them addicted to watching your content. And so you're creating super bingeable content. And when you're giving them that aha moment, you're also creating so much trust and authority with them because nobody else was able to answer that question. Nobody else was able to solve that problem for them. Then your agitational content is going to speak to someone who knows a bit about your industry. They're doing enough to be making mistakes, right? They've tried things that haven't worked. They've made moves in their business, in their fitness, in their mindset, whatever it is that has not worked for them. And so when you're creating content that's going to be more activating to this specific type of buyer that's going to be more activated by agitational content, what you're doing is you're essentially pointing out the flaws in what they're doing wrong, mistakes they're making, issues you have with the industry so that you can, again, shift their understanding. Now, with solution content, this is where you're going to be speaking to the client who knows about your industry. They know they have a problem, but they need your help to effectively execute and see results. And so when you're speaking to this level of business owner or this level of customer, what they're really looking to see is a more data driven or results driven perspective on what it is that you do. And so when you're creating solution content, you're quite literally leading with the outcome, leading with the results, and you're pulling in people that need to see that more data-driven, ROI-backed approach to marketing. And then your transparency content is what bridges the gap between where your audience sees you as an authority, but also as a person they can relate to. And you're really pulling back the curtain as to what's happening behind the scenes of your business, behind the scenes in your world, and you're showcasing the conversations that you're having with people on social media, the demand that you have for your offers. You're highlighting what it actually looks like to work with you. And like I said, you're really pulling back that curtain. You're leveraging the bandwagon effect and you're giving people so much space to see themselves working with you. And it makes it just so much more real. Why are all of these different pieces of content important, right? Because they're speaking to the different buyer types. And so this is something that is going to be a little bit controversial. And I know the marketing people in the audience are probably going to be triggered by me sharing this, but when you are creating content through these different lenses, essentially what you're doing is you're applying the framing effect in sales psychology. So you're sharing the same information, but you're framing it in different ways that are going to be more activating to the different types of buyers. So your problem aware content, for example, expressive buyers seem to be really activated by the type of problem aware content that we do because it really builds that relationship where you're giving them that aha moment and you're able to set yourself as an authority but also create that connection with them where you're really speaking directly to their symptoms, what they're going through, and when they feel super seen by you, that's activating to those expressive buyers. Another example with your agitational content, that seems to really speak to your driver buyer. They want to know what they're doing wrong so that they can fix it. They just want the information, they want the outcome that you can provide. They want to get in and get out. Your solution lens content is going to be more speaking to that analytical buyer where they really want to see results and data and ROI. And your transparency content seems to speak more to your amiable buyer. Amiable buyers are really activated by understanding the impact, the trust, the relationship, and they want to know how their decisions are going to impact those around them. And also selling from a more community-based way where you're highlighting the results that you've gotten for other people. That's also super activating to expressive buyers, depending on how you kind of frame it. But it can also be super activating to your amiable buyers where they really need to trust you. They need to see you as an authority and a leader, but also somebody that they can kind of have more of a relationship with. And so that transparency content where you're letting them see themselves working with you and building that trust is really activating for those amiable buyers. Now, when you're speaking to all of the different buyer types in your content, this is ensuring that you're covering 100% of the people in your audience. So when you only speak to one or two, you're just agitating, or God forbid, you're just educating. You're really not speaking to any of these types of buyers. So you're not selling to them in a way that is really speaking to what's important to them to make a purchase decision, which is why your sales are inconsistent. Basically, when somebody's making like 15 to 20K per month, usually it's because they accidentally hit on some of these things in their content and it works. But having a super repeatable process where they can do it intentionally and be making $10,000 to $50,000 per day is going to come from really understanding how to be activating to these different types of buyers. So if you only speak to one or two, you're ignoring like 50% of the buyers who would buy from you if you just spoke their language. And again, framed the education and the information that you're already putting out in a way that illuminates what that gap is and creates trust and authority and actually makes them want to work with you. If this video is helpful for you, be sure to subscribe. And of course, if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments or message me on Instagram. My DMs are always open if you want to chat through any of this or see how we're doing this in action in our business over on my Instagram. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.
Let's get it.